What's up, guys? I'll be right with you. Hit that like button on the way in.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart. It's an incredible thing.
What in the hell was that all about? Obama.
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
All right, what do you say we jump right into it? What's happening, guys? How are you? Welcome to the podcast. That's what it is, because I forgot what it was for a second there. Welcome to Blunt Politics. I'm Boston Brian. Thank you for hanging with me once again. It is January 29th, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. Republicans haven't really been able to kind of get their message across with the videos that they've been putting out there, with all of this bullshit that they've been trying to spew. So now they're going after like more of a character assassination rather than the physical assassination that we all saw. But before we dive into everything, we'll be talking about a lot. What do you say we bring in the chat? What's going on, guys? What's up, Sammy? What's up, Steve? How are you? How's everybody doing? What's going on, Evie's on? Thank you to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. Please make sure you hit that like button. Please make sure you hit that respective button on whatever platform you're watching on. Thank you to everybody on Twitch. Make sure you hit them bits. Make sure we get them hype trains going. All the stuff that happens over there that I'm just talking out of my ass to make it seem like I know what's actually going on. Do all of those things, because it helps. I heard. Somebody told me once. But what's going on, guys? What's up, Victor? What's up, Nick? What's up, Karen? What's up, Petrazi? What's going on, Bethany? What's up, Leon? Appreciate you guys. What's up, Forever Young? What's up, Flipper? Appreciate you guys. There you are. What's up, Jen? How are you? What's up, Rocks? Thank you to all the mods. What's up, Tom? Appreciate you, brother. We're up in here. Everybody can pick up one of these in the old link tree at Tom's website. Goes to a great cause. Helping the children out there in Ukraine. Obviously, we are pairing that with our campaign with the old NAFO folks, the people over there at the 69th Sniffing Brigade. We're trying to keep that running. We just hit over 31% of our goal over on help99.co/patches/Boston Brian. So make sure you check that out, as we're up over 6,500 euros raised, which is amazing. It's just incredible that you guys in this community are able to, reach that far and wide in order to reach, in order to raise that much money to a great cause. So, shout out to you guys. Big appreciation. Pat yourself on the back. We're 31% of the way there. Let's continue that. And as well, anybody that wants to rep one of these also goes to a great cause. Tom, putting $10 for every shirt towards like I said, the children of Ukraine, and helping the foster kids, and also, if I'm not mistaken, the elderly and less fortunate are also involved in that as well. So appreciate you guys. Thank you so much to the chat. Let's look at a couple of the things that we'll be discussing today, because we're kind of all over the place, if if I'm being honest. Which I typically am to a fault. Let's see here. We're going to be talking about, we got a couple Piers Morgan clips that we're going to be diving into. And if you don't mind, I know we don't like Piers Morgan. We know that he's a Trump bootlicker. We know that he's directly responsible for a lot of what we're seeing right now. But again, as a bootlicker, as somebody that's known as a Trump sycophant, to see that he's kind of even done, he's kind of held firm on what he saw and what he's seen so far in the footage from Alex Pretti, and as well from Renee Nicole Good. So, he's doing a pretty good job, at least, of representing these bootlicking sycophants, pushing back on the Republican, the administration, and what they've been coming out with as far as their propaganda and rhetoric. Again, I'm not giving them too many flowers or too much praise, but it's a good thermometer, a good temperature gauge on where these people are at. And if Piers Morgan is kind of willing to speak up like this, then that there's other people behind the scenes that feel this way that may not be willing to kind of speak up. But it's good to have him at least put a few people in his place. So I think he does here too. I'm not familiar with who the creator is, but the one next to Brian Tyler Cohen. We also have Vinny Oshana on here, who I don't know why he decided to throw on a shirt and a tie today, because he loses his mind just like he always does. He's just an absolute lunatic. We'll be taking a look at him. And then Joe Rogan. is back at it. Okay. Now, Joe Rogan has been, I don't know, MIA for a while. I don't know. I don't follow Joe Rogan. So apparently he hasn't done a podcast in a while. This is his first one back, and he addresses specifically with Andrew Wilson the Alex Pretti shooting. So we'll go over it together and see what he has to say, see how far down the rabbit hole he is, or if he's, willing to come and live in reality with the rest of us and admit what the fuck happened. But I'm not holding my breath. We're also going to be discussing this video that's circulating the interwebs. I actually had this pulled up yesterday for yesterday's show, but I just wasn't really sure where it was going. I wasn't really sure how it was going to be used. So I kind of held off on showing this on the show yesterday, but this is a video supposedly gotten by a channel that hasn't posted for quite some time and just so happened to be in this position to get this footage of Alex Pretti in a previous altercation with ICE officials, which again, a lot of the right is trying to use as justification, is trying to use as character assassination, but can also lend a little credence to the fact that these ICE agents may have known who Alex was. They may have been very familiar with who he was, and they may have even been targeted. So we got a double dose of Jesse Dollemore. He's got a couple videos that he was speaking about whether or not Alex Pretti may have been on an ICE kill list. We also have Tom Homan was speaking, and I want you to really dive into and listen to like the rhetoric change from Tom Homan and like how soft spoken he's trying to be now and how he's really not going to comment on anything until the like you can tell that he's gotten clear-cut instructions from somebody to change the tone. Right, that we're not going to dive into too much of it, but it's pretty clear right off the bat the change in tone from Tom Homan and the change in rhetoric, the change in just his demeanor overall, and it's definitely a 180 that we have to pay attention to. And then Jesse Dollemore actually comes back and has a few things to say about Tom Homan's press conference. So I'd like to dive into a little bit of that. Greg Kelly has some of the dumbest fucking arguments I've ever seen in my life. So yes, he's going to actually try to argue that the cell phone that Alex Pretti was holding may just have been mistaken for a gun. And wait till you see his like reenactment that he does. It's absurd. It's fucking absurd. So we got a lot to dive into. Also, Alyssa Slotkin did a pretty good job at going and grilling Doug Collins. I believe this was yesterday. So if we have enough time, I want to dive into that as well. And then obviously Donald Trump doing his best snooze impression in his 10th cabinet meeting as Dems threaten the shutdown, as you can see the title on the Fox News clip there. But just struggling mightily in public as usual. For some reason, I found this a little awkward. Like they didn't take the camera off of Donald Trump on this. I don't know if it was purposefully done or whatnot, but typically when all the cabinet members are speaking, they'll have some sort of different angle where you could show, the bunch of idiots, sycophants kissing Donald Trump's taint and stuff as they go around the table. But this time they just kind of left it on him. They zoomed out a little bit and got Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth, to his right and left. But other than that, they just kind of left it on him. But nothing really to gain from that. A bunch of lies, propaganda, and bullshit. Donald Trump claiming that the economy is booming, that inflation has been beaten, that the prices of everything are down, blaming pretty much everything on Democrats as he typically does. But what do you say we dive into it? We got a lot to cover. What do you say we start the show off on a brighter note, right? With a little humor, as we say in the Boston area. A little bit of humor. So this is something that a lot of people have been mocking, laughing at, ridiculing for a couple days now. And this is the Melania movie, which was pulled from an entire nation of theaters. I mean, you can't write this shit. You really can't. You could, but fucking people wouldn't believe you anyway. I mean, and you can see here on the right, I'll get out of the way just for a second, but you can see where I was, like the other stories. Entire nation pulls Melania movie from theater. Melania documentary gets brutally review bombed. Melania doc officially on course for box office Armageddon. Oh, it's just fucking, it's just amazing. But quite literally, an entire nation has pulled the Melania movie from every theater. Concerns have been raised about how the film would be received in the country. And this goes on. First Lady Melania Trump's upcoming documentary, Melania, is being pulled from theaters in South Africa. Melania had been scheduled for local distribution in South Africa by Filmfinity and release across major cinemas in the country. Issues were flagged to Filmfinity about the release, which led to the decision to nix it on Wednesday, according to a news report. But I mean, I was even looking at different reports of like theater sales around here. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick, because I should have had this ready, but Melania, I'm just going to do Melania Sales Boston, because I saw a post and it was like, I'm pretty sure she had sold 3 tickets in one of the biggest venues that Boston had. And I'm hoping it was real and I wasn't getting punked. But let me see. Melania Sales Boston, Melania documentary. That's what I'll do. Melania documentary. Let's see if that works. Let's see here. Oh, I wish I could find the post. Did Melania Trump's really open with 0 ticket sales? Like this is great. Did Melania Trump's documentary really open with 0 ticket sales? The internet explodes. Melania Trump's new documentary faces early backlash as empty theaters spark viral debate ahead of its premiere. Oh, I saw a post and it was like, I forget what theater it was in Boston, but they quite literally hadn't sold a ticket to that moment. And then somebody had commented, like, I think a day or 2 later, it was like, oh, sorry to burst your bubble, but they had apparently sold now 3 tickets. Oh, it's just fucking, you can't make it up. You can't make it up. And they're giving every excuse in the book for this, but I just figured we'd start it off with a smile here, you know, something that we could actually laugh at, a little bright note in what is an otherwise very dark time right now. Based on recent developments, we've taken the decision not to go ahead with theatrical release in territory. The Filmfinity's head of sales and distribution told the New York Times. He didn't give a reason for the decision. I think it's pretty apparent as to what that decision was based on, but I love this because Melania's been making the rounds. She's been doing the media tour, and it just hasn't been working. If anything, it's backfired even more. It's fucking unbelievable. Billionaire Jeff Bezos, who cozies up to Trump, bought the rights to the film through his Amazon MGM Studios for $40 million and has reportedly spent an additional $35 million on marketing. So $75 million they're in for it. The movie has been promoted and has given viewers an unprecedented access as 20 days leading up to the 2025 presidential inauguration through the eyes of the First Lady herself. You wonder why nobody wants to go fucking see that one. Social media users have mocked apparent lack of interest in the Melania as a movie. Theaters across the U.S. appear to have sold few tickets for the movie's opening night. Trump, meanwhile, claimed tickets to the movie are selling out fast. Oh, it's like he thinks we still live in like 1963. Like, there's not ways for us to just be like, okay, let me check to see how many tickets have been sold in that venue. Let me see what seats are still open on any one of these sites that can tell me that. Oh, I love it. Around 2/3 of crew members who worked on the movie also said they don't want their names listed in the end credits. It gets better. It gets better. According to a report from Rolling Stone, crew members described the working environment as highly disorganized and very chaotic. One crew member even said, unfortunately, if it does flop, I would feel really great about it. The people that worked on the movie wanted to flop. Oh, I fucking love it. I'm sorry. I know it's kind of, off kilter a little bit of what's been taking place, but, you gotta get your smiles in every now and again, right? Laughing is it's supposed to be healthy, they say. So I just saved everybody a year or 2 on their lives. You can thank me later. All right, let's dive into a little bit of the ongoing attempts at character assassination from the right on Alex Pretti. Again, they haven't been able to win the war with the video. They haven't been able to manipulate the population into believing what they want you to believe happens in that instance. So what they're trying to do now is take another tactic, and they're trying to take this softer role, I should say, with Tom Homan. As you'll see again later on in the show, we'll look at his speech, and you can just right off the bat, you almost can't even fucking hear the guy talk. It's that bad, right? When he's usually on Fox News and he's animated and he's slurring and he's spitting. That Tom Homan is gone. I think he's been instructed to kind of put that Tom Homan aside for the time being. So we'll be diving into that. But I just want you to kind of really pay attention to the fact that they've gone on to more of the character assassination and using the video that we'll watch here in a few. Maybe we should watch this and then, I don't know, because I'm wondering if they kind of discuss it here All right, let me see what order I want to do this in. Let's watch this now. Let's watch this now. That way we can get this out of the way. That way everybody can kind of be up to speed and up to date on what people are talking about in case you haven't seen this on your social media feed. Let me throw this up there. There we go. All right, so make this a little bigger on your screens. So this is per the News Movement channel. Again, I'm not familiar at all with the News Movement. I've heard it been reported that these people have just kind of recently popped back up with just like this random footage. So it's a little bit kind of, fucking sus right off the bat. But this is a video titled "Man Who Appears to Be Alex Pretti Filmed Interacting with Federal Agents." And again, this was allegedly a week prior to his assassination on the streets of Minneapolis. So I just want to go through this. And again, none of this, what you're about to see, in any way, shape, or form justifies any of the actions you've seen taken, not only in this fucking clip, but in the clip that we have, that we saw that actually led to the death of Alex Pretti. Nothing. There's no such thing as, hey, I fucking busted out a taillight, now you deserve to die. That's not how that fucking works. And you can tell because even in this situation, the federal agents didn't fucking cite him. They didn't take him into custody. He's clearly still armed in this fucking clip. I want you to recognize as well, he in no way used it, took it out, brandished it, threatened to use it in any way, even though he was tackled in a very similar fashion in this instance and allegedly broke one of his ribs in this altercation. So again, I'm going to let this play out just so we can be all on the same page. And again, none of this in any way, shape, or form justifies anything. What this shows is a pissed off community after the murder of Renee Nicole Good, and people just really just showing their emotion in the streets. And this is, to me, in my opinion, and I'll speak for myself, what an active protest should be and look like. They should be fucking uncomfortable. They shouldn't want to be fucking, out and about for too long. That's just my fucking opinion. These thugs and these criminals and these fucking masked men that are literally invading and fucking occupying neighborhoods, right? This is how people pissed off when you're, somebody of a genuine fucking soul that cares about the community, that cares about brown and black people, and cares about the people that were shot dead on the streets just days prior, right? So again, let's let it play, and we'll all be on the same page, and then we can go into the coverage, and that way anybody that references this video, you'll know what they're talking about. Okay, here we go.
This is a moment the News Movement filmed on January 13th in Minneapolis, showing a man who appears to be Alex Pretti interacting with federal immigration agents 11 days before Border Patrol shot and killed him.
And again, just how many different instances can we point to and look at where people have, again, thrown stuff at vehicles, broken windows, kicked out taillights, kicked the vehicle on the way by, and in zero instances did those people, at least to my recollection, did they end up dead in that instance? It's not something that I'm aware of. And again, the guy jumps out, they tackle him, they get into an altercation. In the altercation, you can clearly see that his shirt comes up, and you can clearly see that he's still armed with the very same handgun that he had the same day he was shot, and he didn't threaten it, he didn't brandish it. The agents, again, didn't fucking strip it off him, they didn't cite him, they didn't take him into custody, nothing like that.
Our footage was analyzed by the BBC, whose facial recognition technology confirmed his identity to a 97% degree of accuracy. On the morning of January 13th, our team received a tip that federal agents were blocking a street at the corner of East 36th and Park Avenue in Minneapolis. We arrived around 10:15 a.m. We saw observers shouting at the agents as they walked back to their vehicles. When they started driving away, the man kicked their taillight. An agent
minor infraction, a fucking minor instance, what could be written a fucking ticket for, if I'm not mistaken. No way a justification for the man's fucking murder. And again, if this was used to put him on some sort of list, if this was used as justification for these guys that, who knows who they are in this case, because they've all fled the city, they've all fled the state, so you'll fucking probably never know, unless they release it in the investigation, which I highly doubt. Maybe these people were very familiar with Alex. And then maybe the people that saw him on the street the day that they shot him recognized him, recalled this interaction, and then fucking they couldn't control themselves, right? They just had to fucking, get one over on him because they felt he got one over on them before.
Got out of the vehicle, grabbed him, and pushed him to the ground. During the altercation, agents fired tear gas and pepper balls into the crowd. They continued to hold the man down before they retreat, and he walks away. The man in our footage is wearing a similar outfit to what Pretti was wearing on the day he was killed. What appears to be a gun is
And again, I'll see if I can just pause it just in that second where he turns around. But it's clearly, I'll see, I'll let it play
visible
again.
above his waistband.
It's tough to see in this angle right here, but you can clearly see, well, you can see here where my mouse is that something is protruding. Obviously, people obviously suspecting that it was the same firearm, being the same person here. But again, not brandishing, not wielding it, not threatening it. Again, the officers, the agents, whatever the fuck they're a part of, let them up. No citation, didn't take them into custody. Nothing like that. So for this to be used as like some sort of character assassination is ridiculous. It doesn't justify anything. It doesn't show anything. All it shows is a fucking pissed off citizen. And again, look at any other video that goes around, and you'll be looking at a ton of pissed off citizens. So, the fact that this is being spread by Jesse Waters and Fox News and the Greg Kellys and all these other fucking morons and being like, oh, he's not so peaceful. No. He's just a pissed off fucking human being watching his neighborhood be occupied by masked thugs, and he reacted, right? And again, that is the fucking least aggressive manner you can react in this situation. To not take it out on the officers themselves, the agents themselves, but to take it out on the property, the vehicle, which again probably should be better built. I don't know if he even took that big a swipe at it for the taillight to pop out, but that's irrelevant. But even this is not any justification being used. It doesn't change anything about the action that we saw on camera. It doesn't change anything about anything. It doesn't. It in no way does. But they're going to try to use this to nullify everything that you've seen in the video footage from the actual instance that killed Alex Pretti. And basically just use this like they tried to use the fake and bullshit fucking, criminal record and the stories about Renee's partner there, how she used to burn kids with cigarettes, and how she had a lengthy criminal, all bullshit, all AI, all nonsense used to justify, again, the shooting. And again, this is just something that just conveniently was captured by this news, whatever it's called. What's it called here? What's this channel called? Again, I've never even heard of it. The News Movement, which is, again, sus right in and of itself. But again, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, the interaction goes on. He yells back and forth. Nothing really comes from it.
Here, he continues to stand at the scene.
So you can see him over here. Right here.
On the day he was killed, the Department of Homeland Security claims Pretti, a 37-year-old ICU nurse, approached officers holding a handgun. That claim has been contradicted by analysis of bystander videos from multiple news investigations.
And again, the fucking smoke grenades go off, they release some tear gas, and off in their vehicles they go, and nobody is, worse or wiser to that extent, which, again, to a large fucking extent, this is the way that the other the other instance, that shouldn't have escalated to that point to begin with, very well could have ended, right? This just goes to show that the other altercation that did lead to his death didn't need to lead to his death. So the fact that they're releasing this is doing more damage, in my opinion, to the way that the fucking agents handled themselves on the day he was shot to death. Not only that, but shows clear restraint from fucking Alex Pretti, regardless if he kicked the vehicle, regardless if he hit the taillight. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a flying fuck, right? He shows clear restraint, doesn't show any fucking willingness to use or brandish his firearm, doesn't fucking, in no way causes chaos or threatens violence or is there to create a massacre like they want to have you say. So in my eyes, this does more damage to the fucking agents and to the side of the, the administration than it does to anything they could say about Alex Pretti. To me, it's a pissed off citizen, just like there's fucking hundreds, if not thousands of other pissed off citizens in this very fucking footage doing the same exact types of things as, a fucking protest, in my opinion, is and should go. You know what I mean? If they don't feel the fucking pressure, if they don't feel the burn, if they don't feel like society is pressing down on them and is totally against them, then the protest isn't fucking doing its job. That's just my fucking way. But again, maybe I'm more radical than most. Fuck them though. All right, so let's dive into some of the coverage now that we've kind of gone through that, and you've seen the footage that's being used as justification now as character assassination against Alex Pretti. Again, an ICU nurse, worked in the VA, somebody that had to be vetted, right? Somebody that has, we've heard ample stories and people speaking from his life, people that worked with him. We saw the send-off that his co-workers gave him. Clearly not somebody that wasn't respected, that was a monster or was known to go out and fucking perpetrate massacres, right? So again, let's dive into a few of these clips. We're not going to dive into a ton of these. I know everybody hates when we when we sit through a long clip like this, but again, as you know, we'll dip and dive through a few of these. We get a couple from Piers Morgan, and then obviously I want to take a look at what Joe Rogan had to say. I haven't heard any of that. I had her, right hand up. I have heard people say that, it's not necessarily good and is right in line with what you'd thought Joe Rogan would say in this situation. But again, to the extent of what he actually says, I have not heard. But let's dive into this first one where Piers Morgan, again, whatever you want to say about him, and we do say it about him here on Blunt Politics, I think he's an absolute sycophant bootlicker. I think he's a cowardly human being, in my opinion. But somebody that has a lot of power and sway on at least the social media aspect, the news aspect, whatever you want to call it, if you kind of want to filter it in with YouTube and all of that. He knows how to play the game, right? And as somebody as prominent a show that he has, again, with, let's see here, how many subscribers does he have in this channel? Let me see here. This has, just for shits and giggles, it has 280,000 views in 22 hours. And I think Piers Morgan has, a little over 4 million subscribers. So 4.33 million subscribers. So definitely a sizable channel, something that definitely carries some weight, carries some sway into the Republican conservative atmosphere. So another one of these kind of thermometers that we use, like Nate over at Valhalla, to kind of see engage where people are on that side. And, to our surprise a little bit, he has kind of held firm on his belief that the response by the administration was bullshit. Everything that they said was a lie. Nothing that they said actually took place with what he saw in the footage, and that anybody suggesting that it was is almost guaranteed to be being hypocritical, because they almost certainly defended Kyle Rittenhouse. They almost certainly had something to say about Ashley Babbitt, right? So, and he's done all this and he's called it out to a meager extent, while also, and I'll put it in there, while also adding in these little fucking nuanced little ass kisses to Donald Trump, right? He's got to be able to throw him a couple breadcrumbs if he's going to steal a couple of his cookies. That's just how it goes. You can't just steal his cookies and give him nothing, because that's how you end up on Donald Trump's shit list. If you kind of praise him a little bit, right, and you sprinkle a gold dust on the fucking pile of horse shit, he'll be more likely to eat the pile of horse shit. At some point he's going to realize it, but the gold is going to definitely distract him for a little bit. So, all right, let's dive into this. This is Piers Morgan on with Tim Miller, Brian Tyler Cohen, and a couple other people.
For Donald Trump, for his administration, for the wider public, and for this issue of trust and being able to believe what we see with our own eyes. Because if you listen to what these administration officials were saying in the immediate aftermath of this killing, then this guy, Alex Pretti, was about to launch a massacre of law enforcement officers, when we could all see from the various clips that were coming out that simply wasn't true. He was defending a woman protester who'd been thrown on the floor. He was then thrown on the floor himself. Yes, he had a weapon on him, but at no stage did he brandish that weapon or represent any threat to the 8 ICE officers that engulfed him. And
again, just to this point, again, whatever you say and feel and care about Piers Morgan, you're probably right in your feelings. And again, guaranteed would probably said probably much worse on the show about him. So, but everything that he just said was factual. Everything he just said was right. Everything he just said was based in reality, right? The administration came out and wanted you to believe that this guy was out there perpetrating a massacre, and none of that, came to fruition. None of that could be seen throughout the evidence, throughout the different angles, throughout the body cam. Nothing so far has shown anything resembling that fact. And again, anybody kind of believing that is kind of lying to themselves, and I'm sure is being a huge bit hypocritical in that same extent. But he's at least kind of calling it out as it is. while at least doing it, albeit meagerly and while giving Donald Trump his breadcrumbs at the same time. At least he's willing to go that far in this conversation.
In fact, they took away his gun and then they killed him. So given that we could all see that, I think what's happened here, which has been really pretty unprecedented and quite fascinating to watch, is that Donald Trump has realized this has crossed a line many people may not have thought Donald Trump was aware of or cared about. And that line being, if you try and tell people that what they've just seen with
who's that? Who's that, Dame? The gentleman next to Brian Tyler Cohen? I know I've seen him 1,000 times. I'm not familiar with his name or anything like that. I know he's a right-wing shill. I know he's just a hack at that, but I'm not familiar with too much of his content or his name at that much. But is that who's next to Brian Tyler Cohen? Or are you guys just referencing something totally different and I'm just jumping in here? Let me know in the chat.
Our own eyes is not true. They're not going to buy it. Trust in you is going to erode, and your polling numbers are going to get slayed. And ultimately, it will cost you at the ballot box. What's your reading of it?
Well, I hope you're right, Piers. I hope that Donald Trump changes course. I think we've seen some very minor evidence of that, replacing Greg Bovino with Tom Homan. For me, I would have preferred that all of the ICE and CBP agents be removed from Minneapolis immediately and then taken off the streets and brought back to D.C. or to the border where they're supposed to be. Minneapolis is famously 300 miles from a border. And, then they could reassess what a program would look like where they actually went after the worst of the worst rather than menacing American citizens and menacing people who are here legally. And I do agree with you that the American people overwhelmingly do not want and do not support a government that murders its own citizens in the street, that unloads a clip and shoots them 10 times, fires 6 bullets into their dead body on the ground, and then lies about them and smears them after they're dead. I think that the vast majority of Americans don't want that. You'll probably be able to find a couple of shills to come.
And that's exactly what's going on right now. It's find any bit of evidence. Again, we talked about this yesterday, how they're trying to make it seem like it's this huge organized, like it's not a spontaneous show of support or show of anger or show of emotion by American citizens. It is this like organized fucking George Soros formed paramilitary group out there that don't represent in any way the American people. So not only are they trying to use that in Alex's, involvement in the community organization as a character assassination, but also the video that we just showed being like, oh, he kicked the truck. Oh, shit. Of course he should have been shot. I mean, what else do you expect to somebody that kicked the taillight? Of course they're going to shoot him. I mean, Jesus. I mean, it just in no way justifies, as I've been saying, anything that took place, but that's what they're trying to get across.
I want to defend that on this show, but I think the vast majority of Americans say, no, we do not want murderous mass thugs anonymous.
As shown in the polling.
Killing our fellow Americans. And so I do think that is showing up in the polls. I think you're seeing Donald Trump's numbers erode massively, particularly among Hispanics, but also among young men, the libertarian types, the folks that really believed the "Don't Tread on Me" flag, the folks that really believed in the.
And again, that was, we showed that yesterday with Nate from Valhalla, a firearms training expert, somebody that was a Green Beret. Again, we use him as a thermometer to kind of gauge what the temperature is on the America First MAGA battle, civil war that's been going on. But, he represents that kind of don't tread on me, Second Amendment crew, small government type of fucking people. And that's who was kind of, I'm sure Tim is referencing in this point to a large extent. A lot of the bootlickers that we know that actually we're out there talking about it don't really give a shit. Those are the people that are more than willing, like this guy here that we're about to hear from, to justify the regime out there saying that we can't have guns, you shouldn't have guns, you got to take the guns. But now that person obviously doesn't give a shit about it, is going to justify that, he's going to excuse that, whereas people like Nate and others along the lines of the the military folk, and again the firearm training experts, the people on the Republican conservative side that are into that type of thing, are not having it. They're not too fucking happy with what's been going on, and they've been making it known, at least to a certain extent.
The First
I'm going to dive on from Tim here.
Speech.
I'm going to dive on from Tim here, just for the sake of time, to where they bring in the gentleman that you were talking about in the old chat ski there. I believe he jumps in here somewhere.
On these crimes, Also committed
I'll
murder,
go back to
deported.
his thoughts.
Shootings,
Here we go.
deadly shootings of protesters.
Well, it's because of mindless people like the gentleman that just finished speaking is the reason why people have this perception that Donald Trump is somehow doing something wrong. They deported 600,000 people. They've deported people who have committed murder.
And again, how many of those people have criminal records? How many of those people, like you're going to go on to suggest, are actually have been committed or alleged or convicted of the crimes that you say they were? Because to a large extent, on every fucking level, to the deportations that we've seen, to every action that we've seen, the overwhelming majority of people have no or little fucking criminal record. That definitely wouldn't suggest they're ready for deportation. People have been showing up to the asylum process, going through this the right way, doing it the legal way as we instruct them to do, and still being wrapped up, rounded up, and deported out of this country. So it's bullshit. You come up with all the fucking numbers that you want, and I'm sure he's going to go on to say, as all these Republicans have been saying, like, oh, why is it only happening in Minneapolis? Well, it's not. As you remember, the fucking, it was in Chicago first where they were rappelling down from the buildings. People were in uproar there. A lot of it's been taking place on the streets of fucking LA and California since the National Guard has been put out there. I remember specifically some National Guard members that were shot in DC. So let's not make it seem like this is the only area in which shit is kicking off. This is just the area that is most focused upon, because I believe the tactics in this area are more brutal and more violent per the permission, per the fucking instructions of this fucking agency, because of Tim Walz and because of Jacob Fry and all these people that they fucking think are going against the government and creating and inciting insurrection or whatever the fuck they say. The tactics are more brutal. There's clear-cut, evidence of Bavino saying, hey, go out there. Anybody touches you, you fucking beat them. These are our streets. You're the mean green machine. Basically out there saying that you own the city and don't treat these citizens as they have, like you're out there to serve and protect them, right? You're out there to control them. You're out there to be aggressive, to put fear in their eyes. That's what they were instructing. So to a large extent, that's why it's kicked off so much in Minneapolis, because of the tactics of the fucking agencies themselves.
Rape, all kinds of dangerous and felonious crimes.
Yeah, we heard all 18 of them that the fucking Fox News report that went out actually had evidence of. All 18. And again, let's put that just in percentage-wise of the 600,000 number that he put in there. So again, is that a large percentage of them or a small percentage of them that have actually come out with evidence that they even committed at one time or another these egregious crimes that you say they did? Because this was Fox News, okay? This was not, fucking Democracy Now! Or PBS or fucking Breaking Points. No, this was Fox News that put this out, and they were trying to applaud themselves, pat themselves on the back for 18, 1-8, not 18,000, not 80,000, not 1,800, not 800, not 80. 18 people that they could fucking pull up evidence that had some sort of, violent or sexual assault or something like that in their criminal background. 18. That's, again, put that into perspective.
Also, they're deployed in all 50 states. Why is Minnesota the only state that's having issues?
It was the next line. It was the next fucking line. I should have waited. I would have looked like a genius. The next line, they've all been saying this. Why is it not all happening? Well, again, look at the tactics being used, right? Look at the fucking people being sent there, whether it's Bavino and his fucking clan of thugs that weren't in there, right? They were in Chicago before. I mean, this isn't, we could pull up instances in Texas that I know about. We can pull up instances in Florida. We could pull up instances in California. We can pull up instances in DC. All of these different places, you can pull up different instances like this. But again, the tactics are what's leading to, the aggression, and the tactics is what's leading to the actual chaos.
And then to get on TV and say that a guy is observing the First Amendment and Second Amendment while he's at a protest, assaulting ICE agents, Border Patrol agents.
I'm sorry. And at what point was he assaulting them? At what point did he assault them?
He committed an assault, a felonious assault against the ICE agent. That's how he got into a physical altercation while carrying a firearm without notifying them.
Where was the altercation? And I'm not sure is he referencing the earlier video? Like, is he talking about the assault on a vehicle? Right? Is his vehicle's feelings hurt? Did that vehicle have to go on like administrative leave for a couple weeks while it got its taillight fixed and couldn't get paid? right, and struggled to put food on the table for its little baby fucking explorers. I don't know what he's trying to get across, but if he's talking about the actual death, the actual assassination, there is fucking zero evidence out there to suggest that he got into a physical altercation, right? And I keep calling it the bare minimum that he could do when he was witnessing that ICE agent beating, physically assaulting that woman, and just put his hands up and did a step in front of kind of motion. That's about the fucking extent of what he did. And if that's what he's using as justification in this, and again, notice how he said, oh, he couldn't be using his First and Fourth Amendment. He's out there protesting. Okay, now what the protest? Now tell me, what amendment is that under? What amendment does Americans, can they point to be like, yes, I actually have the unalienable right to get out there and peacefully protest what's going on? I believe it's one of the two that you mentioned, but we'll skip that in the education and the civics class today there, Chief.
When
the border patrol pushed the lady, he went hands on.
Okay, so did you notice what you just said there? Did you notice what you just said? When the border patrol agent pushed the lady, did you just going to breeze by that? Is that not a clear escalation in this? Is that part of the duties and jurisdictions and policies of these agencies now, is to just two-handed extend, full shove ladies over snowbanks and ice banks and shit? Because we're just breezing by that. Now, again, what any normal human being would do, any fucking decent human being would do, is what Alex Pretti did in that situation, which was just, again, stick your hand up. This is the universal sign for I'm not a threat whatsoever. I am just trying to kind of block you in the pepper spray that you're now fucking, spraying on this lady. That's it. That's it. And again, I haven't seen this part, but it sounds like Pierce is going to push back on this a little bit. Because he's been pretty good at this. Like I said, credit where credit is due, and not too much flowers on this point, but he has been very good at least pushing back on these right-wing guests and people that, again, are clearly not living in reality and are bringing up shit that is not seen throughout these videos. You know what I mean?
That is a felony. You cannot do
he
that.
Didn't assault anyone. But Brandon, here's the problem.
Is that not a felony crime?
When you say what you witnessed was an assault,
to physically assault.
Brandon,
then fucking Brandon, thank fucking Christ he didn't do any of that. Then isn't that a relief? It's almost like you have ample footage to go back and look at, and it's very detailed, specific, and clear cut, and it's very fucking in the face of what happened that you could look at and say, at no point in which did he assault anybody. Ever, not once, nor did he brandish the firearm, nor did he threaten to brandish the firearm. So everything that you're now saying is bullshit. That's what we like to call it here.
Hang on, let me finish.
Piers,
when you say
what
you witnessed was when you say what you witnessed was an assault by Alex Pretti on ICE officers, that is not what I witnessed.
Piers, do you because you don't live in America, you've never done law enforcement, you don't understand the law. And with all due respect,
I've got a home in America.
I'm sorry, but his eyes work, right? I mean, I know he's in hospice right now in the UK because he had some hip surgery. I think he broke his femur as well. But I don't think that it affected his eyes at all. I don't think the fact that you live in the UK has anything to do with your eyes. Like, I mean, you could still be able to see, okay, an assault or not an assault. That's just, I don't know, it should be pretty clear cut in that instance. But let's go on to this next clip here. Jesus Christ. Sounds like somebody's trying to break in the back door. All right, let me see if we can go on to this next clip here, which is Pierce again here trying to call out and doing his best to try to corral Vinny Oshana from the Pretty Big Douchebag podcast. So what do you say we dive into this one, and then we got at least one from Joe Rogan to get into next after this one, and then we'll get into more from Jesse Dollemore, Tom Holman a little bit, just to kind of show you the change in a few more of these videos that we're going to get to. But I appreciate it. I'm going to throw this on the screen, and again, let him take it away here.
Mark Lamont Hill, let me start with you. Like all of these things, none of this is easy.
And again, this is just to show how relatively consistent Pierce has been on this, and also how he's not, afraid in this instance, in this one specific case, to push back on morons like Vinny, and others.
Complex. A lot of Americans believe that what Trump's done on the border is good. closing it down after the very porous border that we saw under Biden, with millions coming in illegally. That doesn't suit anyone.
See how he's got to throw these breadcrumbs out there. This is what I'm talking about. He can go a little bit past where normal or other people in the MAGA sphere would go in criticizing Trump. Sometimes doesn't do it nearly enough, and is always willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, and is directly responsible for what's taking place right now, and at least getting Trump back in office. But to this extent, he loves to be able to at least throw these little tidbits out there, give him a little fucking pat on the little pat on the ass as he goes by, knowing that he's going to give him a scolding sometime later. That's what he's got to try to do. He can't just fully dive in and go after Trump and say it's ridiculous. He has to kind of sugarcoat around it every single time. So again, recognize where he's calling him out, but also there's bullshit on how he's kind of tiptoeing around the subject at the same time.
Anyone's interests. A lot of people believe that if you're in America already undocumented.
No, of course. That's what I'm saying, though. This is what those are the little tidbits that he has to put in there. The open border rhetoric, right? The fact that people still can't get together a number. I think Tom Homan says something like 10 million, while Donald Trump says something like 25 million, and all these people it goes in between. Of course, we had Border Patrol agents, we had Customs and Border Patrol, we had fucking ports of entry that had staff and people there. We had all of these. We had the cameras at the border. We had all of these different things. What they didn't like is the fact that we were much nicer, I believe, to a certain extent. At least Democrats wanted to be nicer to a certain extent to these people coming across the border looking for a better life. And these people don't like it. Right? They just didn't fucking like it. They like to, bring up this whole replacement theory, and we're bringing them in just so they can vote Democrat, which is asinine and ridiculous. They also try to make it seem like they're all murderers and drug dealers and criminals, even though statistically we know that fucking immigrants and people not from this country, commit crimes at a much lesser rate than fucking natural born citizens of this country. It's just a fact that you can look up. That's nothing like we're pulling out of our ass here. So even this, the rhetoric that they have, and again, that's just a sign of him trying to kind of butter up Trump as he's trying to stick one in, if you know what I mean.
Legally, and you commit another crime, you should be deported. That seems to be general consensus. The flashpoint is about people who may have built their lives in America but came in illegally, who may have been there a number of years.
I'm just skip ahead a little bit to where he brings
right to be being shot dead. And I can tell you, looking at this from afar in the UK, where I am at the moment, it's pretty horrifying. What is happening here?
I think you've used the perfect word, and welcome back, Piers. It's really good to see you in good health. This idea of horror and it being horrifying, I think, is right and exact. The government is essentially waging war not just on people who are deemed to be unlawfully here, which is an entirely different conversation that we can have, because it's far more complex than just saying Americans don't want them here. I don't think that's true, and I don't think that that's the full story, even if it were. But you're seeing citizens being waged war upon. We're watching protesters being deemed enemy of the states. We're watching unlawful raids at homes and in workplaces. We are seeing an assault on the Constitution. And one of the things that will be seen in court very soon is whether this has been such a judicial or such an overreach that it constitutes a violation of the 10th Amendment right of Minnesota's right to state sovereignty. We'll find that out. But regardless, this is not the solution. This is not the way to solve whatever problem we imagine, because what we're seeing is protesters being demonized, people being criminalized, and innocent people being executed in the streets. This is a horror.
Vinny Ashana, great
All right,
to
here we
see
go.
you.
Vinny comes in.
I've never seen you looking so smart, which may suggest you're viewing this with a new gravity. So first of all, what's the tie all about? I've never seen one censored with a tie.
And you'd think with somebody that gets as red as Vinny does every time his head looks like it's about to pop off, he'd be not willing to put on a tie. That just to me, it just seems like it's just ripe for squeezing the veins out of his head even more than they normally do. I don't know why he did that, but apparently he thinks he's big time now.
I just felt, Piers, I had to step up my game. You're always professional, so I want to be professional. And I want to thank you, Piers, for always having me on. And number two, that you're healthy and you're a strong man. You'll be back. Piers, I want to say one thing to you. Do you know what I don't? By the way, everything that Mark said is factually false. Unlawful this, unlawful that, Constitution this. Give me a second, Piers.
Again, these are the constitutional defenders. I give you. The constitutional offenders, the people that want to, have the fucking writings exactly as they are in the Constitution, everything, these people that love the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, all of it. Now it doesn't matter. Oh, unlawful this, unconstitutional that, bullshit. None of it's true. I don't know what he said that wasn't true. Everything was pretty factual in his statement that he said and what was taking place on the streets of Minneapolis and other places in this country, the feelings and the sentiment of the people in response to what's taking place, and also Pierce and what he said and what we saw and witnessed clearly on the video footage. So here's Vinny coming in with his propaganda. Let's see how mad he gets.
You know what I do, Piers? I carry a 9mm Hellcat Springfield gun. It's on me.
That's because you're 4'11". I mean, we're talking about different issues here. I understand you got a little small guy syndrome going on, which means you got to have, packing heat at all times because you can't defend yourself otherwise. But I mean, let's not get too carried away. The fact that you're sitting in a nice air-conditioned studio, heated studio right now, wherever he is right now. I think he's a Miami guy, so it's probably air-conditioned. In a studio with your fucking Glock or with your 9mm doesn't make you a tough guy, nor does it change anything that happened on the streets or on the scene that day that you're about to talk about. So again, you're wasting your breath, and the veins are already starting to pop out of your head, and you've wasted everybody's time thus far.
Right now, okay? I protect myself. I protect people that are around me.
Did they ask you to protect them? Do they want to be protected by an angry pejorative asshole? Almost slipped on that one. By a very small, insignificant human being? Did they request to be fucking protected by you?
I was in the military. I was on the Air Force shooting team. I'm that guy, Piers. You want to know what I don't do? I don't take this gun and go to a federal agent's ICE event, which he was on.
An ICE event. Now, Vinny, can you just back it down a little bit for me? Backtrack that a little bit. What is an ICE event actually? Because to me, again, I've gone through this, and it's so asinine for these assholes to be like, oh, you can't bring your gun to a protest. Oh, you can't bring your legally licensed firearm to a place where you don't know everybody, where there's going to be large groups and you can't predict the outcome of what's going to happen. Like, it's the clear-cut, obvious place that you would take your legal firearm in a state where you're legally permitted and be, able to do so. I mean, you're not going to leave it home in that situation. That'd be pretty fucking stupid, wouldn't it be? You know what I mean? It's for them to be like, oh, you don't take it to a pro. I mean, even that was shot down by the former head or the former chief or president or whatever the fuck she was of the NRA, saying that she blatantly and consistently goes to these things armed pretty much heavily, right? And their backing of Kyle Rittenhouse, again, their backing of Ashley Babbitt. We don't have to go through it all, but it's just pure bullshit.
Signal this guy Alex, purposeful on signal. It's all coordinated to get in there.
And here you go again. Here's that other line that they've been fed. Make it seem like it's extra coordinated. Make it seem like it's extra organized and that it's a paramilitary organization, not just some random, uprising from the people because of the sentiment, because of the anger, because of the frustration. That's another thing they want to get you to believe. That is, again, this is orchestrated by a group that is infiltrated, the streets of these cities that doesn't represent the populace. It's a bunch of bullshit because the polling numbers actually represent the same thing you're seeing on the streets as far as numbers and people protesting.
Aces, Piers, and disrupt a legal federal duty. I don't do that. You know why, Piers?
Luckily, he didn't either.
Not dumb. You don't.
Yeah, no. Yeah, see, you had almost had people going until you had to throw out the "I'm not dumb," Vinny. Now we know you're lying. I mean, there's never been a more clear instance of you lying on Piers Morgan than saying "I'm not dumb." Just if anybody wants to clip that one.
Do that. And by the way, Piers, the gun that he had, little fun fact, is a Sig Sauer P3.
Is this the accidental discharge argument coming? Because he's like he's hitting all these talking points in line. Like he's just fucking rolling them out like they're a Pez dispenser, right? Like it's fucking propaganda by the fruit roll-up. He's just hitting all the points here because I guarantee you if what he's about to say is what I think he's about to say is there's a good chance that there was an accidental discharge, which then made everybody think that he was being shot at and shit. I don't know, but I'm just assuming.
20. All right, that gun, there's a bunch of lawsuits for Sig Sauer. That gun goes off just unintentionally. The firing pin goes.
And again, is there any video evidence to suggest that's the case? Does anybody push back on that at all?
Goes off.
Right, but the thing about
Vinny, on that.
So what does that point that he made just
And again,
about,
I'm a little worried about the whole copyright aspect of using too much of Pierce's footage from his channel. So I picked this up from a different channel. I'm going to go on just a little bit. I apologize. I'll give credit where credit is due, though. Credit to Just a Confused Brit. And his channel has 82.3 thousand subscribers. So credit where credit is due to him putting this together. But again, I'm using this because, again, I don't know how Pierce is with his whole copyright aspect, so I don't want to use too much of his footage. So appreciate this kid for putting this together. But I'm just going to dive ahead where they go back to the commentary just for the sake of time.
But Pierce.
Well, hang on, Benny, hang on.
Pierce,
but hang on.
Go ahead.
Here's my point. My point before you finish. My point about this is the guy. I've had the complete opposite argument about these situations going back 20 years in America, which is that I agree with you. I don't think people should be armed to the teeth all the time going to any things like this, right? And yet this is the very argument used back at me, which is that actually, yes, he had a perfect legal right to carry that weapon and to carry his ammunition. At no stage in any of the videos have I seen him, has he been brandishing that weapon or trying to shoot anybody or pulling that weapon or anything like that. In fact, the opposite, what we see is a pack of 8 ICE officers descend on him, and one of them
And again, so not only is he accurately pointing out the hypocrisy, the blatant hypocrisy of these Second Amendment freaks that are now saying that he shouldn't have had a gun and he's not allowed to have it, and that asshole on Fox the other day that said, oh, because he didn't have his license on him, that pretty much negates his ability to carry a firearm, which is horse shit, bunch of fucking nonsense in that regard. But not only does he accurately point that out, but he's clearly pushing back on the fact of what people are saying happened in that instance. He didn't brandish any weapon. He didn't assault any officers. On the contrary, he was assaulted himself by 8 different officers after they were done assaulting the woman that he was trying to protect. So again, a good job at least of pushing back on the people that he needs to push back on in this extent. But let's dive on to Rogan to, again, just for the sake of time, so we don't run out of time here. If we need to dive back in, we can. But a lot of people were kind of awaiting this little moment here. Not myself, as not much of a Rogan fan, to say the least. But apparently, again, this is his first podcast back since the killing of Alex Pretti. So people were kind of curious what he was going to say. And he sat down with Andrew Wilson. Now, let me see, because I do recognize this guy as being a right-wing shill. But let me just see. What's his name? Andrew Wilson. Let me see if that pulls it up here. Andrew Wilson. That's not him. He's an actor. Andrew Wilson has participated in thousands of debates on political, cultural, and religious topics. He is one of the a host of The Crucible. That's where I know him from. Let me see. I'm just trying to pull up his provider associated with the Online Debate University. I forget what he's directly affiliated with. I know them. I think there's something else other than The Crucible as well. But just to kind of fill you in a little background on who he's speaking to in this instance. But yeah, let's throw this on the screen here. Joe Rogan, again, haven't listened to this, but I've heard it's pretty much exactly what you'd think he'd say. So what do you say we dive into it together? And I'm sure we can't probably play too much of this either, because I'm sure the Rogan fucking experience doesn't want you to. So we'll try to dip and dodge and dive through this and give my commentary and change this as much as humanly possible for the fair use law there. So let's dive into it. This is Andrew Wilson discusses the Alex Pretti shooting in the Minneapolis ICE protests. Joe Rogan, first time back. What's he got to say?
I'm glad you're a gun guy, because I wanted to bring up this whole thing with this guy, Pretti.
Yeah.
And I haven't talked about it. We haven't done a podcast since that guy got killed. But that whole thing, there's a lot of people that don't understand what's going on. And why?
Okay, now Joe here is going to enlighten us. Hasn't been around, hasn't talked about it, probably hasn't been too in depth in research and discovering what the hell actually took place. But he's going to enlighten us, per his fucking 17.5-hour podcast he does after smoking 43.5 blunts, and taking about as much fucking edibles as you could possibly take. Again, in moderation, nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, probably not after which you'd probably give some worldly advice to the country after, just saying. But anyways, here he is going to enlighten everybody in this country as to what they don't understand.
Riots only in Minneapolis. And why
again, riots, I don't know, the riots are not what he's trying to portray them as. They're not fucking instigated, orchestrated riots. What they are is direct reactions to brutality, to aggression, to overreaching and overstepping of their policies, boundaries, and fucking the laws of the land that these agencies and these officers and these fucking people perpetrating the violence on the streets are engaged in. Right. So again, if you look at all of these scenes before the killings, Renee and fucking Alex, like these people were the scenes were not chaotic. They weren't like this before the officers, before the agents actually escalated the scenes. Right. That's something that you could clearly point out, even in this instance. I mean, before the fucking DHS officers started, assaulting the lady in the street, he was clearly letting traffic by, just recording. Right. He was already even, engaged at one point, told and pushed back to the sidewalk. Nothing came from that. This was afterwards that it happened. So the fact that they escalated the situation is what kicks off what he's deeming as like these riotous situations. And it's basically because they're untrained and unwilling to fucking restrain themselves as DHS, as Border Patrol, CPB, ICE, whatever the fuck you want to call them, whatever agencies they're affiliated with. That kicks these situations off, not the people on the street out there peacefully protesting.
It's in the place where there's an ungodly amount of fraud that has been discovered.
Wait a minute. What? What the fuck what does one have to do with the other? And the fact that he's trying to, again, throw in this like Somali fraud story that we know has already been fucking talked about, debunked, learned that it happened. There's been investigation, prosecutions, and even people fucking thrown in jail years ago when this story was actually broke and actually broke and it was actually taken care of and stuff like that. So he's trying to muddy the waters here to the best that I could see and trying to be like the riot is to cover up. And it's like, I'm not sure where he's going with this. I don't even know where one fits in with the other.
Incidentally, around the same time.
Exactly. Like instantaneously afterwards, the narrative completely changes. Everybody forgets about the fraud. Now,
what? The instantaneously afterwards is what happened is Donald Trump ramped up the efforts and sent more agents into this. The brutality by Greg Bavino stepped up. Like, what the fuck are we talking? This had absolutely nothing to do. Like, we were perfectly fine calling out that stupid fucking prick. What's his name? What was the kid's name? Nick Shirley there. So he's not even worth remembering. We were perfectly happy calling out Nick Shirley with his propaganda and his bullshit, right? Without having to do it in like a riotous form on the street. So it was pretty easy to do, to point out the bullshit, the fact that it wasn't a news story, all of the lies that he told within his fucking so-called documentary that he had, right? I mean, the debunking after was brutal to an extent where even fucking Channel 5 and Andrew Callahan had to put out like a reason for the edits that they had on the interview with Nick Shirley. And he was stuttering and stammering and couldn't put together a sentence, that they literally couldn't even edit an appropriate show together because he was so fucking stupid.
All anybody cares about is ICE and fascists and Nazis.
Yeah.
And it's there's a, what a color revolution is.
Of course.
And for people that don't, it's a
so he's going to try to say this is again an orchestrated chaos in order to justify a revolution, whereas it's not the actions of the government, it's not the actions of the regime directly affecting and directly instigating the reaction from the populace, from the citizens of this country, right? Where it's just not it's not just this like spontaneous feeling of people needing to do something and getting out in the streets. It's because they've been paid, or it's because they've been, it's because they've been radicalized on some fucking Telegram channel. And again, it's not just mom, pop, and everybody else out there because they're pissed and frustrated. That's what they want. They need you to believe that. They need you to believe that it's not the American people speaking as or on the whole, that directly relates and has to do with the polling that we've seen on this same issue. It can't be that. It has to be this radical fringe that they'd love to have you believe controls everything.
Coordinated effort to cause chaos. And this is a very coordinated thing. The idea that this is an organic protest, these riots are organic, is nonsense.
Really? Really, the fact that they're organic, the fact that they're happening, just spontaneously because the people can, at the times that they're out there, be out there. And then when others that have to go to work and have appointments and have to take care of kids aren't out there, others get out there because there are just that many fucking people pissed off about this. So Joe Rogan, through his fucking demented thick skull, can't comprehend the fact that people are actually that enraged. They're that outraged at what's fucking going on and taking place. And it can't be like spontaneous. It can't be, it has to be orchestrated and calculated. It has to be this like conspiracy theory of like a paramilitary force behind the scenes orchestrating this and manipulating the media to suspect or, report it as it's like the American people. You know what I mean?
It's provably nonsense because now they have access.
It's not provably nonsense. And again, where were you back in? We were showing yesterday how the January 6th, how Proud Boys and people that were leading up to and planning what was taking place on January 6th were using Telegram channels, we're using Parler, we're using different social media applications to get these fucking messages out, to get these things coordinated, to get the weapons shipments together, to get the positions and where they were going to be on that day together. I don't remember you speaking up too much about that and calling that out, right? But now it's a problem that in 2026, pissed off Americans are just utilizing the technology in front of them to organize to a certain extent, right? To just be like, okay, this is where ICE is, or okay, this is the vehicle that they're driving, or okay, this is where we're going to be, at this time between this fucking, at this date between these times. So if you want to come out and, bang on a drum and hold a sign, that's where we'll be. Like to the overwhelming extent, that's how these are being used. Are some of them a little bit more sophisticated? Are some people good at using, spreadsheets and drawing these things up and making it look really sophisticated? I'm sure, absolutely. But to think that's like representative of a paramilitary force that has some out fucking like foreign funding or whatever the fuck is just asinine. It's crazy. And again, listen to the people that are being interviewed. Listen to the people that are out in the streets. Look at the variety of people. Look at the backgrounds that they come from. And then you tell me if it's a paramilitary force.
To the Signal chats. So they know that these people.
Cam Higbee, by the way.
Yes.
He's been on the.
And that's the one that we showed yesterday, again, where, he played the screenshot where they said that they like infiltrated the Signal. Like, again, it's a fucking app that people use to try to get. I mean, it's not Pete Hegseth here. They had more smoke for the people trying to organize against ICE on Signal than he had for Pete Hegseth, who again was relinquishing fucking detailed and classified information via Signal while he had a reporter in there. So no smoke for that, but all the smoke for people just utilizing an app in order to get information out to the populace, in order to get information out to people that want that information. And again, it's like, how undocumented people can and what their rights are in a situation that they're being approached, or what you can and cannot do when they're knocking on your front door, what your rights are here. Like, these are the things that they're talking about as like, this the evidence of an organized paramilitary group. And it's ridiculous.
Front lines of this. The Crucible has been a big supporter of that effort, my channel. I will often snipe his coverage while it's going on.
Why does he sound like the guy on the couch from Half Baked?
Audience over to send in super chats in order to keep this guy going. I think that work is critical.
Yes.
It's critical work. And there's not that many people doing it anymore because of how dangerous it has become.
Yes.
And so I'm a big supporter of that. Doesn't mean I agree with everything he says politically, but what he's doing on the ground there needs to happen.
Right. You need to understand that this isn't organic, regardless of how you feel. I don't feel like that guy should have been shot, but I understand what happened. And what happened was chaos.
Tell us. Wait a minute. Wait, chaos is part of the fucking job. Chaos is in the job description when you take this fucking oath, when you put yourself in that position, when you strap a firearm to your fucking thigh, right? And you go out there in a job that requires body armor and fucking tactical gear and shit like that. Chaos is part of the fucking job. The same thing with fucking military operations. That's why they train and they train and they train and they train until it's fucking second nature. And you can react to any split second decision that you need to react to with the fucking clearness, with the awareness, with the clarity that you need to in order to engage either the clear fucking target and not the person that's being held hostage. I mean, that's just probably the most clear example people can think of when you hear of, military training and police training. They're going through the houses and you can see the things that pop up, and it's either a guy with a gun or it's a lady that's a hostage. Like, you got to, in a split second, be able to react and think, okay, who am I taking out? Where do I need to look? Do I hold the trigger? Do I pull the trigger on this one? You know what I mean? Like, who is this person a threat? Are they not a threat? Do I need to engage? Do I not need to engage? Is there a way out for me not to use this weapon in deadly force right now? Like, these are all things that need to be fucking looked at, and Joe is just going to breeze by all of that, all of the lack of training, the fucking, what is it, the 45, 50 days of training they get, the recruiting tactics, the people that they're actively going after and seeking to fill these roles and positions. He's going to blow by all that and say, oh, it was chaos, give him a break. It wasn't really chaotic until they started beating on that woman. It wasn't really chaotic until that agent gave the woman a two-handed shove over a fucking ice bank. And then when Alex did, again, the bare minimum, just trying to step in the way and make sure that didn't continue, was pepper sprayed in the face, was then beaten and mauled by 8 different officers. He was then thrown onto the ground, disarmed, and shot in cold blood. But let Joe Rogan tell you what he thinks happened.
First of all, it wasn't ice. People need to understand that. It was
fucking tomato, okay? Gestapo. I don't give a fuck if it's the SS, the SA. I don't give a fuck who it is, right? There's a lot of different fucking forces that we could look at, but guaranteed, when you look at the goals and the objectives of them, they're all pretty much the fucking same. So I don't give a shit what they're affiliated with. None of them are out there with badges. They're all fucking in haphazard fucking clothing and uniforms. They don't know, look like the ragtag bunch of fucking little rascals out there with actual guns and shit. That's what they look like. So again, if you're going to talk about this chaotic scene, let's talk about the training that they're supposed to have. Let's talk about how you actually should handle those situations, or people that shouldn't be involved in those situations, like the officer that was involved in the shooting of Renee Nicole Good, right? Because of the fact that he was involved in some dragging and he reached into a vehicle. Yeah, well, guess what? Maybe his fucking demented mental ass shouldn't have been on the fucking job with a firearm. How about that?
It was Border Patrol people. So they were brought in to assist ICE. And they're telling this lady to stand away, and then this cop gets very aggressive and shoves her. And then
to
understand the situation that
no. And then what happened?
Right. And this is not making an excuse for any of it. But you have to just put it
that, you know what, it sounds like you're about to make excuse for any of it. That's just when somebody says, hey, this is not to make an excuse for any of it, the first thing that comes to my mind is, oh, this fucking cocksucker is about to make an excuse for any of it. That's just what I'm thinking.
They're in, right? And this is not making an excuse for any of it. But you have to just to put it into context. These people are getting harassed outside of any hotel.
Oh, here we go. Well, the poor babies, they're getting harassed outside, and they're fucking, oh my God, they're just, they've answered the call of these white nationalist fucking slogans and recruitment tactics, and oh, these poor babies, they've just been so maltreated. Oh, how can you expect them to handle themselves with professionalism? How can you expect them to handle a firearm with fucking professionalism in this instance when they've been so mistreated? Oh, Jesus.
They're at, people blow horns, they try to smash into the hotel.
Not the horns. Oh, not the horns. And again, I wonder if Joe's going to talk about the video of these same officers that he's now defending sitting in the window drinking beer. I wonder if he's going to defend the fact that the officers pulled down his pants and mooned everybody in the crowd. And again, to a large extent, not a fucking, but it just goes to show the immature nature of these fucking assholes, how they don't take this very seriously at all. Not only that, but let's see if we can pull this up, because I didn't show this yesterday. Let's see if I can say ICE officer. I don't know if I should put allegedly or what. Drunk outside. Let me see if this pulls it up. Because apparently, and from what I saw in this, he was looking a little bit inebriated in this. And this was outside the same. Nope, not that one. It's going to pull up the same one that we went over on this show, the same drunk guy that got arrested with his kids. But there's footage going around of ICE or DHS or CBP, one of the guys outside of this hotel, and he is just, he's either on some pills or he's drunk, which would go, in line with what we saw of them drinking beers in the window. But basically, he's just out there asking for law enforcement help, and he's swaying back and forth. I can't find it here because of all the the infiltration of all the different videos that have been fucking put out by different creators and ICE and all of that stuff. But I'm sure if you take the time out, you can find it. If not, somebody, if you have it in the chat, let me know if you can send it to me. But it's at night. It's in front of that same hotel they're all staying at. He's kind of behind some sort of like mini barricade, and he's just kind of like swaying back and forth, and he's talking all weird. If anybody has that, let me know. But I guarantee Joe's not going to bring that up. That was the whole point of that.
They dox him.
They dox him. That's why they're wearing.
No, and you mean fucking like federal agents that shouldn't be required to fucking have like anonymity in the first place? You mean people acting as law enforcement, but they're not actual law enforcement, but they should be able to say, hey, what's your badge number? What's your name? Show me your face to the very least. The same thing like DAs and judges don't get to do. They don't get to sit on the fucking judge's bench in a mask so that their families don't get harassed. The prosecutors and the district attorney, they don't go into court with masks so that their families don't, like these poor babies now that are armed to the teeth, that have funding well beyond most fucking nations' militaries. All of a sudden, they're the fucking victims.
Masks. It's a coordinated effort. I'm not saying that guy should have shoved that guy. I don't think he should have. Or that woman. I don't think he should have. And then pepper spray.
Okay, so what happened next, you bastard?
Right. And then the guy who got shot, Pretti.
No. Alex. Alex is his fucking name, not the guy, not Pretti, not fucking last name only. Alex Pretti is his name, you cocksucker.
He steps in, which is...
To what? To what? So he steps into what? You're fucking so close there. You're so close.
You know anything about concealed carry? If you are...
okay, so he's not going to tell you why he stepped in, which is, again, just to defend the woman, just to make sure that the woman didn't continuously get beat on or pepper sprayed. Not going to mention that, but he's going to go right into this, like, what you should do. So, because notice how this works. Notice how this works. It's a split-second decision for the cops, but it's not a split-second decision for Alex Pretti. Like, he has ample opportunity and all the time in the world to think, according to Joe Rogan, about what sentences he should come out with, what ID he should pull out at that moment in time, even though he's never asked about any identification. He's never asked about any permitting for the firearm, as far as I've heard from any of the audio coming from this. But he's going to jump right to this fucking Republican regime talking point that everybody loves to see here, where it's a split second. It's too chaotic for the officers who, again, are instigating the chaos, who are escalating the chaos. But again, this person who should have known exactly what to pull out as far as ID, should have known exactly what to say, in the split second he gets punched in the face, pepper sprayed, and brought to the ground.
Concealed carry holder, and you are carrying not just a pistol, but 2 full magazines as well. You do not ever physically engage with someone.
Good. Luckily, he didn't then. Luckily, again, as we've been calling it, rightly so on the show, he did the fucking bare minimum that somebody in that situation with a clear conscience that had a fucking soul and a heart would have done, which is just to put himself in the position, in the way of that fucking altercation continuing. That's it. Arms up with, again, the international signal for I'm not a fucking threat. The same international signal used by law enforcement to signal I am not a fucking threat. That's what he did.
Also, are supposed to carry your license on you, and you're supposed...
Doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking matter. Doesn't negate anything that took place. Doesn't register him an illegal firearm carrier in that instance. It's a fucking ticket. It's a citation. Most of the time, if you go in with the proper documentation, they're going to fucking waive the citation anyway. So fuck you, Joe Rogan.
You're supposed to have ID on you.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
And you're trained.
Yeah, you're supposed to have it fucking tattooed to your forehead, apparently, in this country now. You just, if you're gonna carry a gun, again, these are the people that were supporting and defending 2A up the fucking asshole and backwards right now. And again, making us seem like we're the 2A defenders, when again, would like to see some fucking normal gun legislation be seen anyway. But again, that doesn't mean I'm going to allow, as it's written, the rights of the American people to be trampled on at the same time. You know what I mean? There's got to be some fucking, some coalescing, some coming together, I'm sure. And it's as far away as we are from that. That's the way that it's going to happen, and for any gun legislation. But nobody's going to just sit here and say, okay, tattoo your fucking permit number to your forehead. That way, anybody that stops and asks you for your papers, you don't have to react quickly. You can just say, hey, point to your forehead.
Specifically for this, by the way, I was a CPL instructor for years.
Okay, so
and
you know about it.
The thing is,
So I think I've heard enough I think I've heard enough from Rogan to see where he lies on this. Again, hasn't found his balls. He just hasn't managed to get out of the taint to stop his tongue from licking and touching skin and leather of Donald Trump's fucking boots. So that's pretty, that's a clear-cut example of where he lies on that one. All right, so let's dive into this first Jesse Dollemore video, if I may, because this is just kind of referencing a little bit of the video that we took a look at earlier of that was being circulated of Alex Pretti, prior to his assassination on the streets of Minneapolis. And this is talking about how ICE may have had him on a quote-unquote kill list, or at least was known to these agents enough where they were trying to seek some sort of retribution for some past altercations. So let's just dive into a little bit of this, and then we'll go into, I just want to show you a little bit of Tom Homan and how his demeanor has significantly changed. So let's dive into it. Oh, let me put this on the screen. Let me get back into this one, and away we go.
I believe certain facts are coming to light when you piece all this different reporting together that paint a picture of the very, very likely, obvious possibility, but probability that Alex Pretti's execution came at the hands of ICE agents and CBP officers who knew who he was and they were targeting him. Said another way, he was on an ICE kill list. Let's go through this and you tell me what you think. I have two separate pieces of reporting here, one from the New Republic, one from CNN. Let me read you just the headlines and then we'll get to the CNN article. The New Republic article is Trump team demands right to destroy evidence in Alex Pretti shooting. A judge ruled over the weekend that the government is barred from destroying or altering evidence related to the investigation. The Trump administration is fighting in court so that they can, under color of law, with permission from a federal judge, destroy evidence.
And again, this is fitting right in line with them taking the agents out of the fucking scene of the crime right away, flying them out of the state right away, getting Greg Bovino out of fucking Dodge right away. I mean, this is to the scene that we saw with Renee Nicole Good, the same thing. They were out and fucking, he was in a car, the engine was still smoking in the vehicle she was driving, and he was already out of harm's way, out of the scene, the person that shot him. And again, I know a lot of people like him to say his name, but I don't like to give him the fucking satisfaction, the prick.
In the execution of an American citizen at the hands of masked secret police. Why would they want to destroy evidence? Why would they?
Because they know their guilt. And I know that was a rhetorical question. I know you're being facetious on that one, but I'll answer it just in case anybody was wondering. It's because they know they cannot prove their innocence. They know that they will then have to take action against these agents, which will then lead to different circumstances and different actions being taken by other agents, which is what they don't want. They want this, they want the aggression to continue. They want the fearful fucking nature of the citizens on the streets right now to continue. They don't want to be held accountable. They don't want their fucking agents to be held accountable. The only known reason in which why people wouldn't, again, continue on and help with investigations, wouldn't allow state and local law enforcement to help with the investigations, and why they'd be destroying evidence in this case and trying to do it, again, in court.
Not want to vindicate their officers who did nothing wrong with evidence. Cover up. And the CNN headline, which we will start with.
I'm going to let him go on. I'm going to grab a drink real quick. I'm going to let him go on. I'll be right back.
Alex Pretti broke rib in confrontation with federal agents a week before death, sources say. And in this article, they highlight that ICE and these federal goons, these secret police of Donald Trump, are creating databases and lists, and they are tracking cell phones and creating a network of which cell phones were where and at what times, and then where'd they go and who were they also near. It is a nightmare of Fourth Amendment.
And this is, again, you could bring up multiple different fucking videos, multiple different pieces of evidence to suggest that these ICE officers and CPB and Border Patrol are going around taking pictures of license plates. Anybody that's just out there filming. There's that one prominent video of the woman recording and the officer or the agent, whatever you fucking want to call these assholes, Gestapo. I'm just going to say Gestapo from now on because I'm sick of calling them fucking anything else. But this Gestapo fucking member, this thug, went over and just took a picture of her license plate, played her face just so she could be added to the database of domestic terrorists just for out there literally doing the fucking crime of filming. Right, just recording what was going on. And so this is right in, and again, think about what happened after the murder of Charlie Kirk, right? You know, the fucking list that they went and put on social media of people trying to get them fired from their jobs, and how they fucking put all together videos and they were doxing people. You know, this is what they're now utilizing as far as like a database for resistors, right? For people that are against the regime, for fucking literally, it's a resistance database at this point.
Violations, and they are tracking protesters. They are tracking not only protesters, but observers, people who are just there to record, people who are just there to chronicle, which is what Alex Pretti was. He was not a protester. He was an observer, a peaceful, quiet, uninvolved observer just there to film. And he was on a list.
And again, that's why they're so fucking heavily trying to get out the footage of him kicking the vehicle, because they think that is like, okay, in that one instance, that somehow denigrates or takes away all of the other shit that we know about Alex, all of the other footage of him being on the sidelines and recording and not interacting. And it doesn't. It just fucking doesn't.
He broke his rib just the week before in an earlier incident. And then I believe targeted him on the street because they knew he was there based on all of their surveillance.
And again, this is what people are piecing together because of the database that they have, because he's, you know, there's footage of him going around speaking at some kind of, you know, I don't want to say, I don't know what you want to call it, some sort of meeting where basically people are just giving out information on how you could go about, you know, safely protesting, on what areas they'd be at, what your rights are, like these types of things that, again, people are utilizing different social media platforms and apps to get the fucking word out. I mean, and have been. AOC was doing this a long time ago. When I was in California, people had already made up cards that I was able to hand out to different people that may have been undocumented, may have had family members that are undocumented, and it just gave them all of the rights that they had, let them know what they were able to do, what they didn't have to comply with. It's a very similar thing, right? Using 2026 fucking technology and like business cards and different business platforms to get out the, you know, sheets and different fucking flyers and information. That's all that is. That's all that is. And they're using these databases, again, that could have been used to have Alex Pretti on any one of these to know and recognize his face. And we know that these people can't control themselves. And maybe they wanted to enact some sort of retribution for him being in the list, being so involved and being out there in their faces and recording them all the time. I don't think that's a too far-fetched, you know, theory to come out with.
We've seen the video of, and if you haven't, I'll just play it real quick. It's very brief, like 20 seconds of an ICE agent getting the plate of a car and then telling the woman that we're putting you on a database. We're creating a database and you're going to be considered a domestic terrorist.
It's not illegal to record.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Why are you taking my information down?
Because we have a nice little database.
Oh, good.
And now you're considered a domestic terrorist. So
we're videotaping you.
And now you're considered a domestic terrorist for doing the, you know, the egregious crime of fucking recording what they're doing. And now she's been not only put on a database, as he fucking referenced there, but she's being labeled as a domestic terrorist for that alone, which she rightly responds to. Are you fucking out of your mind?
Are you crazy?
So with that in mind, let me get into this about the surveillance of Alex Pretti, the very possible putting him on a list and then targeting him for execution. Remarkable, wild stuff, far worse than I thought it would be in this second term. Alex Pretti broke rib in confrontation with federal agents a week before his death, sources say. Federal immigration officers have been collecting personal information about protesters and agitators in Minneapolis, sources told CNN, and had documented details about Alex Pretti before he was shot to death on Saturday. One, he is not a protester. He was not a protester. Let's stop saying it. Let's get our reporting correct. Words are critical in moments like this, CNN. You should know better. It's unclear how Pretti first came to the attention of federal authorities, but sources told CNN that about a week before his death, he suffered a broken rib when a group of federal officers tackled him while he was protesting their attempt to detain other individuals.
And that's the video we want.
Come on, CNN. He wasn't a protester. A memo sent earlier this month to agents temporarily assigned to the city asked them to capture all images, license plates, identifications, and general information on hotels, agitators, protesters, etc., so we can capture it all in one consolidated form.
And again, this is reiterated today at Tom Homan's press conference to a certain extent as well.
According to correspondence reviewed by CNN.
And again, fits right in line with that video that we just watched, the activities, the actions of these officers. And that wasn't the only one. That was, I think, the most prominent one that he featured. But many of those videos going around of, fucking Gestapo smacking phones out of people's hands, calling them domestic terrorists, literally telling them to stop following, stop filming, stop recording, saying that they're interfering and that, they'd be put on a database and that they would be fucking, taken into custody for doing absolutely nothing. Right. So, and again, for sake of time, I'm going to show you this because we have about a half hour left and we have another $1 more video to get into. So I think he's referencing actually Tom Homan in this. So let's dive onto this. Right. So we all know Tom Homan. Right. We all have looked at clips. We've seen him on Fox News. We've seen him slurring and spitting. You can't understand him. And he's fucking agitated and he's animated. Right. Look at the change in demeanor. Look at the change in rhetoric. Look at the change in just how he's talking compared to how he was before, and tell me that he hasn't gotten clear-cut instructions from a higher up, whoever it may be, whether it's Stephen Miller, whether it's Donald Trump himself, whoever the fuck it may be, in order to try to, change the tone a little bit. Listen to this, and we don't have to dive into much. You'll get the gist of this pretty quickly on this one, but you can almost barely fucking hear the guy. Like, it's crazy. And this is actually a Forbes one because on the original audio, it's so bad and he's so quiet, you can't hear him. And this has actually been turned up by Forbes. So here we go.
Mueller Newsmax. The new video of Alex Pretti is now circulating. Your reaction to that, and do you think law enforcement could have played a role if, like, let's say, Minneapolis police were able to respond to that?
Okay, so he's questioned about the new video, right? He's questioned about the specific video we just watched of Alex Pretti kicking the taillight, right? So in earlier weeks, in earlier days, Tom Homan would have absolutely no problem coming out with his opinion, his thoughts before an investigation was done. He would definitely accuse and demean and try to assassinate the character of Alex Pretti. But what he does here, listen to how he answers this question. Again, not only the way he's speaking, but what he says, and then we'll dive on from here. But it's pretty obvious to me.
Have those top law enforcement officials said they'll help or do anything to help these agents who are out here?
I'm not going to comment on any of these shootings. I said from day one, I said on any of these shootings, as a career law enforcement officer, we'll let the investigation roll out. Let the investigation.
So let me translate fucking blubbering, toothless jaw mouth for you. It sounds like he's got a bunch of fucking whiskey bottles hidden in his cheeks. I apologize. But basically he says he's not going to answer the question. He's not going to comment on the new video. You know what I mean? You can tell his soft-spoken demeanor, the way he's kind of shifting back and forth. It's not how he wants to handle the situation, but it seems to me like he's reacting to some sort of specific instructions. I don't know where they came from or what they were, but it's a clear shift, right? But he's basically saying, he's kind of not going to divulge anything until an investigation has been forthright and has kind of been done. He's not going to go into it. Listen how soft spoken he is.
Play out and let it go where it goes. I'm not going to come out and make any comments that I think is right, wrong. Do I have an opinion? Yeah, my personal opinion, but I'm not going to share that with you.
Even that's a huge change. There's never been an instance where he's been on Fox, Newsmax, OAN, RSBN, or anything where he's fucking found it necessary to hold back in his opinions on anything, right? And to a large extent, and we'll play it, Jesse covers it afterwards, he did go in and make some other, threatening comments to people that were actively trying to resist what was going on. But to this extent of like just the outright tone and demeanor of it, I think it's a clear shift. And he seems uncomfortable in that position of having to not answer what he knows he wants to say in this position, right? So Jesse actually goes on to talk about Tom Homan acting like a mafia boss in this press conference. So I think this is just the first couple minutes. Let's dive into this, and it should give us a couple more minutes to go into the last few videos that I have. So appreciate you guys. Hit that like button. Again, there's a Venmo up in the corner. If you guys please, we have nothing behind a paywall here. We don't sell you anything. We have no ads. We have no fucking sponsors sponsors of the shows that would, you know, sway anything that we have to say here. The Substack is totally free. All we ask for is financial contributions from people that are in the position to do so, whether it be $1 or $2. Buy me a Gatorade. I don't drink coffee, whatever it may be. Just help keep the channel running. And again, you know, I would love to be in the fortunate position to represent you guys on the streets of this country and covering all of the different actions and law enforcement and unconstitutional law enforcement actions that are going on around here. But that is only with the help and the contributions of you guys that were able to do that. I've never had the balls to get out there and do like a GoFundMe like other people have. I don't find that to be something that I'm up to doing. But, you know, if that's something that you guys would find, you know, like you'd want to watch me out in the streets, whether it be Boston covering ice, whether it be Minneapolis covering ice, whether it be in Maine, wherever it may be, wherever the stories are, I'd love to be able to follow. But, you know, just for now, if you could do anything, send a couple bucks to the Venmo. You can sign up just underneath me for a membership on YouTube for $2.99, or you can check out patreon.com/BostonBrian. There are 3 great tiers, and we do monthly Zoom chats where you can kind of put a face to the screen names in the chat, and we just kind of shoot the shit for a little bit every month, and it gets to help you kind of get better acquainted with people in the community. So I appreciate you guys. Self-promotional bullshit out of the way. Let's get on to Jesse Dollemore talking about Tom Homan acting like a mafia boss in this bizarre press conference.
Tom Homan has replaced Lil Greg Bovino as the operations chief of the incursion, the invasion, the occupation of federal troops in Minneapolis. And just a few minutes ago, he held a press conference that was absolutely unhinged, saying things as though he's some kind of a main character in a mafia show. I promised there would have been bloodshed. I promised there would be. Oh no, he says, I begged for everyone to stop calling our Nazis Nazis. I begged you, and I told you there would be bloodshed. If not, ultimately what he's saying is, I promised we would kill you if you called us what we were, which was Nazi executioners. Not someone who executes Nazis, but a Nazi who conducts executions. This is an unhinged situation from a federal official, someone with great power granted them by our fascist president, Tom Homan, the mushmouth dildo with ears. He's like a fat thumb with a face drawn on it, muddling his way, slurring his way through his words here. Watch him as he takes a victory lap that he was right. I told you there'd be more murders, and indeed, it has come to pass.
I'm sorry. Did he say a dildo with ears? Did he say a dildo with ears? Sorry.
I begged for the last 2 months on TV for the rhetoric to stop. I said in March, if the rhetoric didn't stop, there's going to be bloodshed. And there has been. I wish I wasn't right.
Again, like, can we all go out, like, be on the same page and say that you're ill-trained, ill-equipped, fucking Nazi thugs that are out there as white nationalists, being recruited as white nationalists, have and don't ever will have ever had the training to be out there with firearms and to be engaged in these situations? Is that something we could all at least live in reality with? It's not the rhetoric surrounding it, it's the actions directly that are leading to the rhetoric. You know, like, it's the chicken and the chicken and the egg thing here. I can't not see a dildo with ears now that I look at him. I'm sorry.
I don't want to see anybody die. Not officers, not members of the community, and not the targets of our operations.
See again how soft, like, it's a clear shift in how Tom Homan usually is. You know what I mean? We don't have time, but I'd pull up a Fox News clip of him all over the fucking place, and it's definitely not this Tom Homan.
For the people out there who don't like what ICE is doing, if you want certain laws reformed, then take it up with Congress. Again, ICE is making this up. They're
Yeah,
enforcing.
don't protest. Don't use your, again, unalienable right to go out there and peacefully protest. You're going to have to take it up with Congress. Don't get out on the streets. Don't show and make your voices heard. Don't make this more difficult for these Gestapo thugs to get out there and take brown and black people off the streets at will. I mean, don't do any of that. Just, phone your senator. That's what you should do. What's what y'all should be doing at the same time, but that is no replacement for getting out there and actively protesting on the streets. That's just horseshit. Don't listen to them.
Laws enacted by Congress and signed by the president. The same laws have been on the books for the last 6 presidents I worked for.
Baked into that statement is, if you call our officers Nazis, they're not Nazis, but if you call them Nazis, they're going to start acting like Nazis. Our officers are so poorly trained, so poorly educated, they lack so much discipline that they will be enraged to the point of murder.
And that is a huge fucking point, because that is exactly what we've seen time and time again. The lack of discipline, the lack of control, the lack of training, right? Directly leading to these escalations in the situations that never meant or never needed to get to that point in the first place, right? Nobody seems to be recognizing that fact. Not nobody, obviously Jesse and us on the left are recognizing that fact, but nobody that is, clearly not living in reality has recognized that fact. Like we seem to be, or they seem to be taking the actions in like that 30-second bubble of nothing happened before, nothing happened after, and let's just kind of react to when the shots went off almost, you know what I mean? When let's look at how the situation got to that point and all of the ways in which the officers, these Gestapo thugs, could have avoided escalating the situation to the point it got to. That is the clear lack of discipline, clear lack of training, clear lack of ethics, right? Clear lack of leadership being shown in real time that is directly leading to the violence, to the chaos that we're seeing on the streets in different fucking cities right now.
If you call them names, they have no regard for what their actual duty is. They have no professionalism in them whatsoever. They are unhinged maniacs in the streets who will pull their weapons and summarily execute citizens who are filming them, smashing phones out of their hands, pushing them to the ground. No warning. Look, I've been in the presence of these maniacs, firing pepper balls, creating plumes of pepper spray. No threat. People just saying, fuck you, Nazi. And it enrages them. And you got mafia boss Tom Homan here. I told you it would happen. As though he's bragging.
And again, he's 100% right in everything he just said, which, is kind of ridiculous because, and not what he said, obviously, but the fact that Tom Homan is up there and at no point is anybody at any leadership role, pointing the finger towards any single officer or any single instance in which, protocol was broken. They didn't act in accordance with what they were supposed to be doing in that time. The pushing and the shove, none of it's ever being addressed. All they're doing is literally purposefully lying for these people, obstructing evidence, getting the fucking people that are responsible for the shootings out of fucking the area, right? Getting them out of Dodge as fast as possible, putting out these bullshit statements of, oh, he came at us with a gun and he was ready to massacre people. That's what's leading to the fucking anger, the outrage. And again, it wouldn't quell all of this or even a majority of it, but to, I think, a pretty good extent, some justice, some accountability, and holding these fucking officers responsible for what they did would at least go a long way in being okay, at least to certain extents, they're not being allowed to get away with this at every single instance, right? They could at least have something to point to where, Jonathan Ross is in prison for what he did, or the scumbag or scumbags, I should say, that were involved in killing Alex Pretti, or the scumbag that was involved in killing Renee Nicole Good. If they're in prison, everybody, that gives at least a certain amount of people, evidence to be okay, we have something to point back to, some accountability, something that we could look at and say, okay, these people aren't just going to get away with it every single time. But that's not what's happening. It's being excused, and that's why it's being called a state-sanctioned execution, because it's being sanctioned by the state. That's quite clearly the definitional use of that phrase, a state-sanctioned execution. It was an execution thus sanctioned by the state. So again, and again, just talking about ridiculous nonsense. I need to show you guys this. I really did need to show you guys this. Now, you think you've heard all the ridiculous, like, talking points and like bullshitting and fucking trying to manipulate the video and what we saw with our own eyes. I don't know. I don't know if it gets worse than this. And apparently this was a couple days ago. And I tried looking for this whole live or this whole fucking clip or whatever it was on Newsmax from Greg Kelly. And I just have to say, it's pretty clear to me that Newsmax hates Greg Kelly. It's just pretty clear to me. His videos are posted once every like 40 videos. Like there's a ton of other people that are way more prominently featured. He's supposed to be like their main guy, but if you go to the website, he's like a fucking way down the list. You can't even find his shows on the live. Like I literally attempted to try and sign up for the like free trial to see some of the entire lives that he does, and you can't find him. He's not on the website. He's not listed. You can type in Greg Kelly. They don't even bring it. It's crazy. I don't understand it. I do understand it, but I don't. But here he is, given his theory on what the Gestapo thugs that murdered Alex Pretti may have thought was in his hands when it was just a cell phone. And again, I'll get out of the way on this. You guys deserve a full screen in this one, but wait till you see, not only listen to the bullshit, but then look at the reenactment in this. Check this out.
This is evidence for his prosecution, the prosecution against him. He is telling people like this poor soul to go out there with this camera and confront these guys. That is inherently violent. It is.
I'm sorry. I was going to let it play the whole time. I don't know how I could get past the fact that going out there with the cell phone is somehow inherently violent. Can somebody explain that to me? I've been quite literally for the last 11 months, more than 11 months, asking and imploring the American fucking populace to get out there with their fucking cameras to hashtag film and follow ICE everywhere they go. And I'm not even exaggerating. I pulled up shows from 11 months ago that I have literally been out there saying film and follow for that amount of time. And that's not a pat on the back or anything, but that's how long that we've had our head in the game here and known that it was important to have these videotapes, to have these fucking clips, to have these recordings, right? And yes, I called them videotapes. I don't know why. Showing my age on that one anyway. But you know what I'm talking about. But he's literally trying to get it across. And we've talked about this, how they don't like being recorded, how that's been like the point of instigation. That's the point of escalation for a lot of these, instances, a lot of these actions. And now a lot of these right wingers are trying to get it in everybody's head that you can't be out there with a camera. Not only can you not be out with a gun, but you certainly can't be out there with a camera. But listen to the reason why.
Dangerous. And I think it's a criminal act. And can I tell you something? Look at that. Take that full. In a weird way, that phone, I think, could be mistaken for a gun. Now, he has.
Now, I don't know if this is like the appropriate time for me, if I had advertisers, to like interject like a Lens Crafters advertisement or some sort of like prescription fucking contact lenses or something like that. But if somebody looks at that, even a grainy, zoomed in, low resolution fucking photo of that, and then somehow they're like, you know what, that's a gun. You know what that is? That's a gun, and he's definitely going to shoot that guy. Then we're going to take you to one of two places. One's going to be the eye doctor, and next we're going to the fucking home, okay? Then we're going to fucking Bellevue. That's the next place, because you're an absolute fucking moron who is apparently legally blind.
A gun, a rather bizarre.
Wait till you see the reenactment. That's not even the best part. Wait till you see this reenactment. Tell me if this doesn't look like what's actually taking place.
Gun on his in his holster. I want to show you something else. Put that picture down. Just real quick, right? Put it away, if you don't mind, and take me full. I want to show you something.
Let me get out of the way. You deserve the full screen. Hold on.
Show you something, right? Does that look like a gun? I think it's...
No, it does not. It looked like a really bad audition for fucking Starsky or Hutch. I'm not sure which one. What the fuck was that? Hold on, I gotta get that again. Let me get it out of the way. I'm sorry. Holy shit.
By the way, if you don't mind, and take me full. I want to show you something.
Oh, fucking Christ. What? Oh, no. What's the Angels show? Come on, why can't I think of it? What's the Angels show? Isn't that how they're in there, like the fucking theme? Like, isn't that like the cover picture? What is this? What is it? I can't think of the name. Fuck. Charlie's Angels. Thank you, Kareem. Thank you so much. Charlie's Angels. Is that what he's auditioning for? He's fucking... Does this look like a gun? No, it looks like a really fucked up way a boomer would text somebody. Oh, fuck. I can't. One more time and we'll leave. I know. One more time and we'll dip out. Look at this shit. Yeah, he's Farrah Fawcett. Yeah, he's fucking Jesus Christ.
Does that look like a gun?
I can't with the last one. Why did he do the last one? Like he didn't prove his point in the first two?
Put it away, if you don't mind, and take me full. I want to show you something. Does that look like a gun? I think it does a little bit. It's a phone.
It's a phone? Oh, geez. Thank God. I was so scared for your cameraman right there. I thought we were going to have another fucking... Geez, who's the guy? Billy Baldwin. No, Baldwin. What's Stephen Baldwin? No, what's the Baldwin that shot the person? I can never think of anything. Oh, my God. I'm surprised your cameraman didn't hit the deck. I'm sure they definitely thought that was a Glock at some point. But I appreciate you revealing to us that it's clearly just an iPhone. Thank you for making it. Alec, that's what it is. I was gonna go through the whole fucking family tree before I got that one. I feel like my grandmother right now. Leo, JJ, Kevin, I was whatever your name was for about fucking 13 years. Whatever your name is, fucking shit. Oh, all right. My apologies. All right, something a little bit more serious. I just, a couple areas in which we got to fucking laugh. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. But I appreciate you guys in the chat sticking with me. But please hit that like button. Let everybody know we're still live here. But I want to take a look at this because this was Alyssa Slotkin. And again, say what you will about Alyssa Slotkin and her politics. And we could do a lot of that and spend a lot of time on that. But again, just more examples of here on Blunt Politics where we're willing to give credit where credit is due, flowers to people where wouldn't necessarily be willing to back them in anything else, right? So that just, I think, a little bit lends a little credence to our ability to kind of sift through the bullshit and, kind of not sit on or within party lines or this other, fence sitting type of bullshit. That's just the way I see it, at least. But here's just a couple minutes of this that I wanted to show because she's grilling Doug Collins on the Alex Pretti situation. And I think she does a great job of kind of laying out the facts. She was also on the House floor speaking, I believe, as well. On this in the same day. She also, so if you want to take a look at that, I think Hook Global, also has a clip of that. But just for the sake of it, let's take a look at just this few minutes of her grilling Doug Collins here and some other DHS officials.
Now, I want to turn to the topic my colleagues have been talking about, which is Alex Pretti, your employee, the ICU nurse who was killed over the weekend by Border Patrol.
Excuse me. That's right. It was. They're also speaking to the VA officials as well.
You said in your opening statement that you weren't able to engage on this topic, but you did engage on this topic. It took you 30 hours to put something out on Twitter about his death. First, you put out something with penguins in Greenland, but then you put out a statement that said, quote, "Such tragedies are unfortunately happening in Minnesota because state and local officials' refusal to cooperate with the federal government to enforce the law and deport dangerous illegal criminals. Was Alex Pretti's death the result of the mayor of Minneapolis or the governor of Minnesota?
Alex Pretti's death was a tragedy, as I've stated, and I will continue to stand by that statement.
Okay, but you put it
again, not answering the question at large, like they all go in and do the same fucking thing. They all have prepared remarks, prepared fucking statements, and they go in there and they try to, okay, what'd you just ask me? I'm going to answer anything but that question.
It out under official VA Twitter, right? This wasn't like your personal opinion. You weighed in and said why he died. And
again, in case you're just joining us, this is her trying to, again, hold these officials accountable for the things that they say online, for the things that they say on television, for the things that they say in interviews, wherever it may be, doing the same thing here, trying to be like, hey, what justification did you have for releasing this? The same way that, Kristi Noem, Stephen Miller, and Dan Bavino all got fucking checked for their ridiculous fucking statements and recounting of what took place before they knew all the facts.
let me just ask, right? He was your employee. You know that people who work for the VA can't just walk in. They're vetted. They're properly vetted. We had other cabinet officials call him a domestic terrorist and an assassin. Based on your access to the information you have in the VA and in front of 460,000 VA employees, was this man, in your estimation, a domestic terrorist or an assassin?
What I have said about this as being a tragedy, I will continue to say, and I'm not going to make a characterization on something someone else said.
It's not.
So again, just the fact that he's not answering is one thing, but the fact that he's not coming out in defense in support of, again, one of his employees, somebody that, again, was lauded throughout the community. People said that they respected him. People said that, there's ample videos to go out and show some of the great work that he's done. It's ridiculous to think that they feel so firmly on the back foot here and so fucking wrong for their statements that they're not even realizing and recognizing the fact that they should be out there defending their employee, defending somebody that, again, Alyssa Slotkin accurately pointed out would need to be vetted, would need to be fucking having the background checks necessary to even work in a position like that, right? So clearly the checks were done. So somebody that you yourself said was fit to work in those, or the agency that you represent said was fit to work in there. Do you believe that you're now hiring paid assassins or people that are willing to go out there and massacre, Gestapo Nazi thugs?
You said that it was the result of local officials blocking their access. You said it. It's not someone else. So if you can't say
I made no characterization about Mr. Pretti.
You said that his death was the result of, quote, state and local officials' refusal to cooperate with the federal government. Not my words, yours. So you are prejudicing this investigation. You are weighing in on what you think happened. And I just think in front of...
as they all did, and now what they're doing is they're all backtracking, like Tom Homan said, and I'm not going to comment until the investigation. The same thing that, they pull on Fox News with Jesse Waters and fucking, what's the short guy's name? Greg Gutfeld there, right? So that's what they do. Oh, if it doesn't suit me, we'll wait till the investigation is done. But let me just speculate on these other things that, don't necessarily have any fruition or have anything to do with the fucking case itself. You know what I mean?
The employees who have been through a lot this year, that you should at least be able to say to his family that he's not a domestic terrorist or an...
Exactly, right? Exactly. That's the point of this. So not only is she making a clear example of them being on the back foot and coming out with this nonsense, but she's also now calling out the bullshit of them not, having the back of their employee, not having the fucking back and supporting the family in this instance and reassuring the family that they don't believe any of the bullshit that went out there. So they're just worried about their own asses. They're worried about, who put out what statement and who can be fucking, who it can be traced back to.
Assassin, right? People have eyes. They see the video there. And I think we owe him more than that. But to say that you can't engage on it, to say that now that Donald Trump has told the cabinet that now it's okay to have an independent investigation and all, Secretary Noem and Stephen Miller have to walk back what they've said about this poor man in front of his family. Now I think you can admit that you joined them in prejudicing the investigation of your own employee. And now, can I ask, I understand there was some sort of memorial event yesterday that was held.
And this is another thing too, because this wasn't something that I was privy to, but apparently there was some objection to the memorial, to the vigil that we watched yesterday on the show. Remember, we tuned in yesterday at the beginning of the show to the vigil that was being held. Well, apparently there was some sort of email or memo that went out behind the scenes throughout the VA that kind of had some disconcerting things, or kind of had some objection to letting the vigil, to letting this memorial actually take place, which now both of these representatives, both of these assholes sitting in front of her, deny knowledge of.
At the VA in Minnesota. Can you say clearly that neither you nor your senior officials tried to stop that memorial from happening?
We did not.
Okay, because there's an email circulating online right now that says that they were told not to have the memorial, and the people went ahead anyways. So I hope that when this email comes out, there's not any of you sitting at this table who had anything to do with the fact that they wouldn't be able to celebrate the life of a man who was killed. Can you speak to that?
I can. I've seen the email. That email did not originate from my office or anybody sitting at this table's office. That came from a leadership official in Minneapolis.
And so he just woke up, the man who, or man or woman, I don't know, who employed this man, who's dealing with all kinds of fallout and, terrible feeling when people lose that person just woke up and just decided to say that someone else, the higher ups, told her not to have this memorial. She just made that up?
I don't know that she made it up, but I can't tell you what her perception of anything was. But what I can say is that we have been supportive in an appropriate time to be able to have a period for their employees to memorialize Alex Pretti. And they did that yesterday with almost 400 people.
Well, I hope
at noon, which was scheduled.
You see how it takes a suspension of disbelief to believe that the woman who is the supervisor of this poor man said that higher ups told her that she couldn't have a memorial. It seems a little hard to believe, but.
All right, so she goes on from there, but not letting them off the hook the same way that Kristi Noem, again, Tom Homan, Dan Bavino, Stephen Miller, Donald Trump shouldn't be let off the hook for the bullshit that they have spread, the same way that they did for Renee Nicole Good, the same way they have done for other people. Just don't let them off the hook. That's what it's for. And I appreciate her kind of holding their feet to the fire on that one at least. But I have to run off and get my hairs cuts, probably all of them at this point. I mean, it's getting a little out of hand. I look a little bit like a rooster. I know that's a lot to do with the hat. Don't get it twisted. But let me get into thanking some people, and I'll get you fine and fabulous individuals out of here so you can go support some other independent creators for their fabulous work they do in this regard as well. Again, if it's, if I bring you the most bang for your buck, the most value, if you see yourself spending the most of the time that you spend online here at Blunt Politics, please think about signing up for a membership or at Patreon or donating to the Venmo. That would be, a great way to help the channel that you come back to all the time. So, all right, let me get into thanking some people here. First and foremost, JD, thank you so much, brother. I said your initials. My bad. I do this every time. Thank you, James. Thank you, Jenny Faye. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Yakov. Oh, Yakov twice in here, brother. Yakov twice in here. You're double dipping today. I appreciate you, man. Thank you to all of you guys. And then throughout the last couple of days, Christopher, Nancy, again, Tom and Victoria, Moms, Roxanne, all of you fine, fabulous people. Thank you so much for reaching out on the Venmo. I can't thank you enough. Again, right here, all you got to do is take a picture with your phone. Should send you right to the Venmo. It's the quickest and most direct way to help the channel. It doesn't go through any kind of, grabbings and pickings of Twitch or YouTube or anything like that. It doesn't take a month to get there. It's just pretty direct. So I appreciate you guys that utilize that to the best of your ability. So what do you say we thank some people over here on the old Vens of tubes of views and everybody else? Yakov, again, not only on the Venmos, but he's starting it off well here on the old YouTube side of things. Thank you, brother, for the gifted membership. Thank you, Mark G. Great to be a Florida Gator. Go Democracy Vote. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for the contribution. Appreciate the two. Another two here. Don't make fun of my 3 purchase tickets. Oh, you were the one, huh? You were dying to see that Melania documentary, were you? I'm sure. But that's a fucking funny story. I love that. I like to see how they're going to twist their way out of that one and make it seem like that was a success. But I appreciate you, Mark. Thank you, Dame and Masha, for the 1 gifted. I appreciate you both. Thank you very much for your kind contributions to the channel. Jeff Miller, what's up, brother? Appreciate you. Thank you for the 10. When DHS comes out with body cam footage, then they can say something. Otherwise, their BS counts for nada. Yeah, right. And like we said yesterday on the show, you can be damn sure that video footage would have been leaked the second that they saw it, if it kind of, exonerated any of the officers, exonerated any of the fucking mass thugs that were involved in the assassination. But to the best of my knowledge, I haven't seen any of it been kind of leaked or released. So that kind of should tell you something in that regard. So I appreciate you, Jeff. Thank you for the 10. Thank you, Vinny. What's up, VD? appreciate you, brother. We're all bozos on this bus. I appreciate you, dude. Thank you for the 10. I appreciate that. That's huge. Thank you, Nola, as well. Always hitting the nail on the head. Thank you for that. I appreciate the 10. Huge contributions to the channel. You guys may not feel it, may not think it, but that is unbelievable for you guys. Again, all I ask for is $1 or $2. Anything above that is totally above onto you guys. I appreciate you. Oh, look at Peter. What's up, Peter? I appreciate you, brother. Huge $50 super sticker incoming. Thank you, dude. Can't thank you enough for all your support. Can't thank you enough for being a major part of the resistance and always helping out in different chats and different communities. So again, once again, it is recognized, it is appreciated. So thank you so much, Peter, and everybody else that I see in other communities and other chats as well. You guys are always out there fighting on behalf of democracy in other places. So I recognize that. I'm not for a second naive enough to believe that this is the only place that you guys stop. So I want to make sure I thank you guys, all the mods and everybody else, for all the work that you do elsewhere too. So appreciate you guys. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, JD, for the super sticker, brother. Can't thank you enough. And then Ruben, appreciate you to haircut donation, Slavo. I appreciate that. And don't forget, anybody that's going to be in Chicago this weekend, for Hal's show, please, reach out, let me know. Maybe we could, like I said, get a beer together or something while I'm kind of have some downtime. I'll be in there. I don't know what's going on with the storm on the way back. I'll have to kind of touch base with you guys on that. But on the Sunday show, we're definitely going to have to push it back a little bit, because as of right now, my flight gets in almost at the exact same time that the show is supposed to start here on the East Coast. So we might have to push it back a few hours. Might do like a late night episode of some Sunday night blunt politics, if it's okay with you guys. But again, if anybody's going to be there, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. It should be a good time. I appreciate you. And don't forget always to share the help99.co campaign out. We're still on our way to the 20,500 euro goal. Again, 62 donations is unbelievable. 31% of the way there. So please, if you guys could, think about sharing that out. I always say, if you don't have the ability to come out of pocket with anything, just kind of sharing this out and making other people aware of it is, just as ideal, just as helpful as coming out of pocket is, but if you got something to kind of contribute, I would very much appreciate it if you did. Also, be checking out Tom's site in the link tree. Again, all great causes going to a great fucking mission. So I appreciate each and all of you. Thank you very much. And I will see you tomorrow for the Friday show. Actually, I don't know. Yes, I will see you for the Friday show. I don't leave till Saturday. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to the chat. I appreciate you guys. Am I forgetting anything? I feel like I'm forgetting something. No, I'm not forgetting anything. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks, Pops. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you out there. Make sure you're hitting that like button on the way out. Subscribe. A lot of people watch and are not subscribed. I don't know why. Please hit that subscribe button on the way out. We're so close to 20K. It would be a big, big boost if you guys just went out there, shared this show out to everybody you possibly could. Let's get this thing rolling. I'd like to get the Instagram flowing as well. Let's build this community up to like a really well-established, organized fucking paramilitary group, because that's what they're calling us anyway, right? All right, I'm out of here. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys later. Fuck it, we might as well play the old one. Again, none of the information on this exit is going to be right, but just for nostalgia's sake, we'll play the old outro. That one. Bye. Thank you, Brenda. I appreciate that. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Laurie. I wish I knew. I don't know what the name of the town is. It's pretty close to O'Hare as far as I know. So somewhere in that.
coming here is dead. I am the chosen one.
There's no way we are going to allow a con artist to take over the conservative movement, and Donald Trump is a con artist.
Army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do. The kidney has a very special place in the heart. It's an incredible thing. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. It's a new form of vicious violation to our country. For minors, do we love minors? I love minors. Somebody said, is that a Trump statement or is that real?
Fucking Nazis.
For the rest of my life, I have the curse that I have little hands. Little hands.
Hey, you got a little chubby going there.
Where you going? Nowhere.
Taking him back to Nevada where he's wanted for banging horses. He says, wrecked him, damn near killed him.
For minors, do we love minors? I love minors. It's a new form of vicious violation to our country. No words, I have the best words. But there's no better word than stupid. Referred to my hands, if they're small, something else must be small.
Tell the director to call the White House. Do your fucking job!
Our army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do. Venezuela. Did you just see Maduro? Venezuela. It's unbelievable.
Brian, you're drunk. You're drunk.
Man, I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
Eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.